The definition of homelessness is someone, through circumstance, who doesn't have somewhere to live.
Somebody decides to live on the streets instead of going to a shelter or finding a home to live in.
Poor people who don't have enough money to rent a house.
Homelessness is a tramp with a sleeping bag and a dog.
Someone living on the street who's either an alcoholic, a drug addict, or doesn't have enough money.
People on the streets who don't have anywhere to go.
It's depressing because they have nothing and nowhere to go.
Someone who's not well fed and suffering from neglect.
No family and no friends.
Loneliness.
Somebody who hasn't got anywhere to go and has that feeling of not being wanted, of having the security of even a shelter.
Greg Prato. I have this huge picture of this homeless guy, and it's a satirical thing on how homeless people are mentally ill. They're alcoholics, they've had messed up childhoods, but they're expected to fend for themselves in a box in the snow. Out of approximately 20 people in York homeless on a given day, 8 will be rough sleepers. Some people in this situation are extremely traumatised, for example ex-soldiers unable to cope with civilian life. The rest will be sofa surfers who have no fixed place to live, but instead move around friends' houses. Other people, even whole families, can be put into temporary B&B accommodation. This is expensive and not always short-term. This chart is from a focus group on perceptions about homelessness. Despite people listing substance abuse as the main cause, for young people the main reason for becoming homeless is from family breakdown, which ranked 3rd. Struggling to cope with issues at home, such as arguments, new family arrangements and hostility, many young people feel that they have to get away and leave home. The reason that this is such an important issue for young people is that it can follow someone throughout their life. 42% of adult homeless people first became homeless before the age of 20. Attitudes towards homelessness cause more than emotional harm. Not only is a person on the streets 14 times more vulnerable to violence, but prejudice can stop job prospects and deny people the opportunity they need to move on with their lives. 72% of people living in hostels are actively seeking work. The rejection of this process can drive people back to substance abuse as a familiar comfort. This can lead to losing their place in the hostel. For some people, the situation may feel so desperate they end up with no choice but to commit minor crime just to have somewhere to stay. Prison. If you are under 18, the council has a duty to house you. For those over 18, however, sky-high rents can be a problem in cities like York. Ideally, we shouldn't spend more than 25% of our income on rent. In York, the average amount is 50.
You've been checking on my facts, and I admit I have been lax in double screening what I say. It wasn't.
When we built this building, it was bespoke to what we required and what situations might occur within the building and what we wanted to achieve out of it. And one of the things that we wanted to achieve was that this building was nothing like what people might imagine a homeless hostel looks like. And in fact, at the planning application, when everybody's given an opportunity to speak for 3 minutes before you're gonged off, a bit like that television program, one of the objections that was put up to us building on the car park that is just on the other side of this building is that that car park is where the coaches that bring in the lifeblood of the city, the tourists, park. And the first thing that these tourists will do when they get off the coach is to see a homeless hostel. So we wanted to change that around and by the design of the building say, imagine that these people might be getting off the buses, the tourists getting off the buses, and looking at the building and seeing a statement that in York, when it comes to working with the most marginalised, this is how we do it.
Conversations with is that a homeless person is either a drug user or a drinker. It's that stereotypical image of a little old man on a street corner with the bottle of cider and stuff. I think that's still very, very relevant for a lot of people. That's the picture they conjure up in their head. Definitely since I started working here and over the sort of 3 years that I've been here, it's definitely not like that. It was when I first started, there was a lot of drug users and drinkers, but I mean now we've got people that have got debt issues, family breakdowns, things like that. Your average person, just like anybody else that's been working, just lost a job, fallen on hard times, fallen out with a partner, and has ended up with nowhere else to go. They've not got a family network to sort of take them in. They've not got somebody that can get them back on their feet. So they ended up coming to us, and they've not necessarily got substance problems. They've not got an offending history. So I suppose your homeless person is anybody. It could be your brother, your sister, your mum or your dad that just fall on hard times. I suppose as well, like a lot of your homeless people, you wouldn't look at in the street and think, oh, there must be a homeless person. Like, it's not sort of an image that you have or anything like that. It purely is circumstantial, I think.
There's a large group of people that probably don't fit into any of those categories, that have become homeless for a different variety of reasons, such as, you know, they've lost their job and in turn couldn't pay their mortgage, therefore they've ended up becoming homeless, or that they've fallen out with their mum and dad and they're younger and they've got nowhere else to go as they don't have any other family members, and then end up coming to somewhere like Arclight. So it's not always the stereotypical view that people have of older men, drug users, drinkers living on the street. You can see from the residents that we have here that it's younger people, males, females, couples that come in here. So it's really different to probably the stereotypical view that you get from the media, from newspapers, and from what everybody knows about homelessness.